really appreciate you joining me. And as we said there just before we started recording, such short notice, but what you achieved is so current. Well done to you, because am I right in saying, I hope I've got this right, you're the third person to complete the swim, is that right?
Yeah, third
Yep.
person.
After Ross, Edgley and Sean Conway.
Yeah.
So you're in pretty good company when it comes to adventurers. How does that feel? How does that feel?
Cool, isn't it? Yeah, it's strange. Yeah, but it's just that, like, I think all of us had really different experiences. Definitely.
Is it sunk in yet what you achieved, and is the body recovered?
Kind of, yeah. It hasn't quite sunk in what I've actually done, because like it feels that all of the logistics and the stresses around it, particularly towards the end, kind of took over, like actually what the achievement was. And my body, yeah, it kind of did recover, like because I was able, because of the bad weather at the finish, I was having more rest days than I was swimming days. So it meant that I kind of had a recovery then, especially with crew members that came on board. There was a chef and who like fed me properly, and my body did recover quite well. Like when I had maybe 50 miles left to go of the swim. So yeah, my recovery was actually in the process of the completion.
All right. So and how I've spoken to a lot of sort of endurance athletes and ultra marathon runners and things like that, and people who have done incredible things. Did you feel your body adapting? I mean, what I'm trying to ask was it brutally hard at the start, and then your body started to adapt and evolve and knew that tomorrow's going to be the same again. Tomorrow's going to be the same again.
Kind of, because it was such like a long amount of time,
Yeah.
it changed a lot throughout. So I remember there was probably like certain stages, I reckon maybe 5 days every month, that my shoulders were just agony, something like that. So it was the first week and a half to probably the first 2 weeks, I was okay. Like I was swimming, I enjoyed it. And then it just got to a point that my shoulders just built up so much that like I couldn't even touch them. Like even if somebody accidentally brushed them, I was just like really hurt. I was like, whoa, do not go near my shoulders. Just my arms, my back, anything like that. Like I couldn't even like, didn't even want to lie down, because like the pressure just hurt so much, because there was so sort of suffering. And then I was like, I called it like bridge day. Once I get over that really horrendous, like most intense day of pain in my muscles, then it's just going to get better. You just need to work through it. And again, it was then you kind of get used to that, and then it's wait until and then I got to Scotland, and then in Scotland it was just like brutal again. And it was just that, like, right, you've got to really work hard on this particular day. If it's a day that you've got to swim faster than normal, or if I go through a period of 5 days where I've swam twice every day for 5 days straight, my body's just there like, that's a lot, now I'm gonna hurt. But yeah, it was really strange throughout the whole time. It varied a lot. Yeah.
And are there rules that you've got to abide by to make it all real? Is it, how do you rest? What are you allowed to do? Can you eat whatever you want to get your nutrition on? Are there any rules, or is it literally just start here and get to the finish line in your own way? How does it work?
So it was up to me, kind of like it's my own challenge. And
Yeah.
I was like, Alana's Edge John Groats, okay. As long as I get in at the same GPS point every single time, it's a stage swim. It could, I don't know, it's up to you. You could like do it gradually over years, or you could do it all at once. But for me, it was like, it's all at once. This is just what it is. And I rules about like what I ate. No, I was just like, eat as much as I can.
Yeah.
Whatever we can get on the boat, whatever we can actually be bothered to cook at the time, and stuff like that. But no, there wasn't any rules, because it was my own sort of thing.
Yeah, it's your own adventure. But take us back to me. I know, and we'll get into the Atlantic row and other things that you've achieved, but take us back. Why did you want to do this swim? Why was it so interesting to you?
So it was a bit of a varied one. So I did the Atlantic row the previous year, and I figured that I'd worked so hard for that, in terms of getting the sponsors, trying to prove that I was going to do something, that everybody then was asking, what's next? What's next? And I was thinking, hang on, if it's easy enough to get the sponsorship now, because it wasn't very easy before, then I might as well do something else. And I was thinking, what do I know? I want now push my boundaries on something that I didn't know at all and I'd never even read before. how far can you go with something that I've done my whole life and that I'm confident with, which is swimming. And I was thinking I'd quite like to include it with travel. I was like, maybe do I swim between each different Greek island? Like, what do I do? And I thought, no, COVID's still around. Let's stay in the UK. I thought I'd actually, and I like cycling as well. I was thinking, oh, maybe one day I'll do a coast to coast and stuff like that, thinking random little things I wanted to do. I was like, oh, I should do a Land's End to John O'Groats cycle. And basically, it all kind of came together once of me just going, why don't I just swim Land's End to John O'Groats? Because I was thinking, I don't want to do the channel, everybody does, and the amount of training and effort you have to go to even just do any kind of like long distance swim like that. And I was thinking, do I do a coast to coast swim? But I know I still need a support boat, I still need to do this. And basically, I'm kind of lazy in a way that I'm like,
don't call yourself lazy.
In the if I like am gonna put in so much effort to do something, I'm like, I'm gonna go big on it. If I'm gonna have to go to the gym or train for something, I'm gonna make it a lot more worthwhile than just doing a shorter distance of something. I'm not just going to do a channel crossing. I'm going to go as far as I possibly can, because getting the effort, like literally it's the amount of effort you have to do, you might as well go further. Go big or go home. So I was there like, yeah, if I'm already doing all of this, let's swim Land's End to John O'Groats. And it happened to be that I also was speaking to Sean Conway because he was doing a marathon in every national park, and I joined him for one. On my bike because I don't like running. And I was chatting to him, and it was sort of like, yeah, everything came together at once that I should do that. Let's see what I can do with swimming, something I know.
I texted Sean today to tell him you were coming on, and he just messaged back saying, just ask her, how are the jellyfish?
Well, the jellyfish, yeah, they did hurt. I probably got stung maybe only like 10 to 15 times, but like, it's the first ones that you get to your face are just agony. You just roll onto your back for like 5 minutes, just like wanting to cry. But for me, the jellyfish was that the sting I can deal with it, the initial pain doesn't bother me that much. It was that afterwards, like it would spread like up my skin and basically would make my legs unbearably itchy, and that I couldn't actually get to sleep because my legs were really itchy. It wasn't pain. It wasn't that I could see like my the redness on my feet where they have got me. I can see it all raised or bumpy. Not bothered. It was just how itchy it was. So then I fully covered myself up, so I had like socks, gloves, hood, and I put a mask on with cut holes out for it. But then there was one day that my hood, I didn't realise I fell out of my wetsuit. And so it was just like kind of flapping, and a jellyfish lion's mane got stuck underneath it like that. So it literally a full tentacle got stuck under my hood, and my immediate thing was, oh, I've just been stung, and I went like this to kind of like put my hood, like cover it, but thinking that I'd actually like trapped this tentacle underneath of it. So I literally then pressed it down on my neck like more. And that was not, it literally just had a massive red raised bump line around my neck like that. It's not too bad. Like the initial pain, you get over it, and it's at least the water's cold, that it kind of does numb it. But yeah, the jellyfish, I'm not a fan.
Most people's reaction to getting stung by a jellyfish will be, I'm going straight to hospital. I don't know what. Did you have to get out the water when you were stung by jellyfish? You said that you just turned onto your back. Did you just keep swimming?
Yeah, so to be fair, the first times I got stung by the jellyfish, I didn't have a kayaker in the water next to me. I was following my support boat. So the first proper jellyfish sting that I got was in the Bristol Channel, and that was straight to my face, because I'm looking and I can avoid them. But with this one, I just turned like that and just went boom, straight there. And my boat, I literally couldn't even see my boat because it was kind of still in the early stages. I was trying to understand what's going on and like how far away they are from me and different stuff like that. And I couldn't even see the boat. There was no way that they even knew that I'd stopped. And I was just laid up on my going, no, I'm not happy. This was on my 12-hour swim. So I did one 12-hour swim the whole time, so I could swim with 2 tides and basically tack across the Bristol Channel. And yeah, that was a nasty one. But no, I didn't have an option. You've got to keep on swimming. I wanted to get out, but my boat's not there and I couldn't call them. So yeah, I just had to wait.
Well, how do you deal with that? You want to get out. Was there times, maybe you're going to say the entire thing, you want to stop? You want to just grab onto the kayak, you want to quit, get me out of here, get me somewhere warm. How do you deal with that in your own mind?
So yeah, there was definitely times where I was like, and sometimes I did say like on a night, I'm like, no, I'm done. But it's not necessarily me that actually wants to be done. It's that my body's telling me. So for example, I'd get too cold, and I know that if I get too cold, then I'm never going to warm up, and then I'm actually going to hinder myself for the next swim. But basically, the whole kind of motivation behind it all is that I've come too far already, as in I've already done this much and so many people are relying on me. I can't not do it because I won't say I'm a massive people pleaser, but I don't want to let anybody down with it, you know, and there's already so much is weighing on me to just get it done and to keep going. That was kind of like the biggest motivator, even though I, didn't necessarily want to get in the water all the time.
Yeah. What kind of kid were you? Were you always adventurous, outdoorsy? Like, was it a shock when you said to your parents you're going to take on the Talisker Whisky Challenge? Was that out of nowhere?
Um, so as a kid, I got brought up kind of like outside, adventuring, kind of like beach combing, going to the farm, riding motorbikes, stuff like that. So I was always outdoorsy, but to me, it's normal. I didn't think anything different of that.
Mhm.
And then I just wanted to travel. I wanted to see more places. So I don't necessarily, I don't know whether it was a surprise that I wanted to do stuff like this at all. It's not something that I'm like kind of aware of because it is just that's what it is. That's what I think. That's what I'm doing. Like people always ask, what was your parents' reactions? And I don't ever remember even thinking that it was a big deal to announce that I was going to do something like this because it just didn't seem like a big deal to me because I wanted to do it. Why should it matter to somebody else? So yeah, I don't know. I've not really paid much attention to kind of think that maybe I was like this. Maybe this is completely like innate of everything. But yeah, I don't know whether it was a shock to my parents. It shouldn't be really. I don't think
Well,
they should know me.
it's pretty dangerous. The Talisker, and I mean that's you're probably saying all this, and they maybe listen to this podcast back and think, no, 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 we were absolutely terrified, but maybe that's the way they are parents. They don't show you that. They want you to go out and achieve.
Yeah, maybe. I think yeah. Basically, my mum says that she knows that I would just go and do it anyway. And
Okay.
so it's best for her to be supportive and try and help me so that I can do it as best as possible. Because then it keeps our relationship good, other than because she knows that I would just do it. Because you know, I don't even have like a social with my mum, I'm doing this. It's like if she disagrees with it, she knows that that just means we're falling out and she doesn't want that. So she's gotta she's gotta go along with it.
So so you're quite headstrong.
Yeah, pretty much, but not in like in a negative way. And I know what I want, so I'm gonna get it. And at the end of the day, it's not gonna affect. It's still my life rather than somebody else's life. I'm the one that like completes it. I'm the one that does it. You don't have to be the one swimming it. You just have to support me. You know, it could always be worse.
You're absolutely right. I like it. I like that mindset of you're gonna. Well, you've done it. You've done two incredible achievements. You've achieved two incredible feats already in such a young life that who knows what you are capable of, because the potential in you to just keep kicking on is just it's limitless. It's limitless what you could achieve. And the people that must be watching on, what's the reaction been like since you got home? Am I right in saying there's there's a party coming up, a sort of welcome home party coming
Yeah.
soon?
Yeah, so I got home on Friday, and yeah, the reaction. To be fair, I've been really busy. There's been kind of lots of other stuff going on. So like coming back home, and it's been a long time that I've been away, and it was just kind of like right, really just get this sorted out. That see a couple of people, and it's just really. I was very like tired and mellow and kind of like. I just need to sleep actually. This has taken it out of me quite a lot. Like, there's been lots happening. So that yeah, I mean, I'm starting to like do other things. I'm like, right, okay, I need to start to work again. I want to go outside, I want to take the dogs out, I want to do everything. But yeah, there's a party in the pub that I work at, just being thrown on Friday. So one of my favourite bands are playing, just like local live music, and hopefully quite a few people will be there. So that's exciting. But yeah, basically for me, I'm not quite home yet because I need to go back in 3 weeks and bring the boat back down south. So I'm still organising everything to do with that. So yeah, I'm heading back up to Wick, which is where the boat is, and we're going to sail it through the Caledonian Canal and then back down the west coast, which is my next adventure, is sailing this boat another 1,000 miles home, because it's not my boat. Somebody bought it for me to do this, and I need to sell it so they can get their money back. So I'm like, it's still not done. I need to wrap up this swim. Still got a rib that's in Inverness that's getting fixed. And I need to get that sold because I owe that to somebody else and stuff like that. But yeah, the welcome has been good so far. I can't wait for Friday.
You touched on sponsorship and things like that earlier. Just how it's, and the way you described it, it sounds like you did quite well. You obviously got good support and things were quite quick. But so many adventurers talk about how hard that can be. And obviously, somebody, you don't have to name names, but somebody bought your boat. Go and use that, but now I need that money back. There's pressure on you as an adventurer, an athlete, to to achieve the challenge that you're taking on, but also to not reward, but make the sponsorships work for the people that have invested in you. What's that pressure like? Because these people are putting their hard earned into you, and they're backing you.
I actually feel as though I put more pressure on myself than they do, because I don't want to let them down. Whereas I kind of get the impression they're not always that bothered necessarily, because they're doing it to help me do something, because they're involved and want to be involved in something that's cool. So, and the more pressure it comes from me. So this boat that's being bought, it's not necessarily him that needs the money back straight away, but I need to pay for the boat whilst I've got it. And it's quite an expensive thing to upkeep when I don't need it anymore. So the pressure is up for me to get rid of it, not necessarily him wanting the investment back. Okay. So yeah, a lot of the time it does come from me. And I think all of my sponsors are happy. They maybe would take more coverage from it. However, I'd like to think that they seem to just be kind of more like friends rather than business deals now, especially because 4 out of my 6 sponsors sponsored the row, so I kind of know them. I mean, I worked for one of them for a start. It was just like friends. But yeah, it is difficult, especially because none of them are like, they don't get that much benefit apart from just the brand marketing. They're nothing, like they don't do sporting or swimming equipment or anything like that. They're like engineering firms, so they're actually proper sponsors rather than kind of a company that will work with me for it. So yeah, there's less pressures because I don't think they're quite, we don't want to say that they don't understand, but they're not in the same sort of environment that I am.
I get it. No, it's well explained. It's something of interest. I've got friends. I'm good friends with the adventurer Molly Hughes, and she had.
Oh yeah, she came and met me in Oban.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, I know Molly.
No, she's brilliant. I did a live podcast with her a couple of weeks ago, and we've got other things in the pipeline. No, but I mean, to the extent, do you know her sponsorship story?
Roughly, yeah. I mean, it was a couple of years ago that I first met, and we spoke about everything. But yeah, it was for her South Pole thing. She got sponsored by like Gore-Tex.
No. I'm not going down that route. She auctioned off her butt cheek for a tattoo.
Oh yes, of course. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So there's different levels of what you've got to do to attract sponsorship.
Yeah, I actually completely forgot about that.
She'll probably hate me telling that story again. But no, it's always interesting to me because the backing, people putting their money in to support you. But it's nice that what you've said there, that these people aren't necessarily brands that they want you to wear every single day. It must be seen on every photograph and things like that. They're actually people that want you to do well.
Yeah.
People that know you and people that care for you. So it's lovely to hear. You're sailing this boat back down south, but what was it like sailing? Were you through shipping lanes? What was the most dangerous part of the swim? Where there was, am I right in saying, was there military vessels and things out and things like that?
Yeah. So to be fair, probably the most dangerous bit is the shipping is other boats. Like, they can't see me because I'm so low in the water, and even with a kayak next to me, they can't really see us very well, especially at night. Like, for us to get lit, for me to be lit up, I was never lit up at night time. My kayaker was next to me, and I have to make sure that I stay with the kayak. And the only way that they knew where I was because of my breathing. And it's like, probably the most dangerous bit is when I then need to swim to cruise control or support boat, and the kayaker stays away so they don't basically sandwich me between the two boats. So that's the most dangerous bit, probably, when I'm just not seen, I'm not lit up, you can't see me unless like you know where I am or make a noise. But yeah, the shipping, there was quite a couple of times where there was some big boats that were fairly close by. Fishermen don't really seem to care about anybody other than where they are and get into their pots.
Yeah, they've got a job to do. They've got a job to do.
Yeah, and they just speed past you so fast. Bits geographically in terms of danger was going like through Calf Sound, which is like the little gap at the bottom of the Isle of Man, between like the little island, the Calf of Man. That was you get all through there. There's like tidal race. I could see a lighthouse, and I was being like taken so fast straight into this lighthouse. I was like, I swim to the side of it and just scooted around the edge. And then we went through the Corrie of Ecken as well, but that was by accident. We tried to go past it, but basically got completely sucked into it by accident, and just got like spat out the other side, but needed to make sure that we were clear enough on the other side that when the tide turned, I didn't get taken back through it again. So yeah, there was a few different kind of dangerous bits like that, and sometimes like even go around the corner of Skye before straight to the Skye Bridge, like the water is so shallow, we have to be really careful about where I am, and it's just the tidal races. I mean, even the Pentland Firth, like right at the end of the swim, the last day of the swim, that was dangerous because my rib broke down, so I was just swimming by myself, and the waves, this tidal race is so big that I couldn't actually navigate off the land, and I didn't actually know like where John O'Groats was, and I thought it was beyond the next headland, and it wasn't. It turns out it was just there, which is a really good relief, but I was aiming for the complete wrong place. So yeah, kind of dangerous bits like that, but mainly the fact that I'd get lost. Yeah.
What was it? How are you? I don't mean this disrespectful. How are you getting lost though with the crew? Are you sometimes just swept away? You're head down, you're swimming, and you just eventually come up to breathe, so to speak, and you think, oh God, I should be further over that way. You're just swept with the tides.
Yeah, so basically the boat moves faster than I do in the water. And so in like a tidal race or something like that, the boat can't stay anywhere near me, basically, because we're both being taken, but they're getting taken at such a speed, but they can't motor against it because they need to be going that way, and it is really dangerous. That basically it's like, right, we'll meet you on the other side, pretty much. So I just kind of have to keep going. So there's one point through Calf Sound, the support boat went round to the edge because they couldn't actually go through because it's too shallow. So I just had my kayaker with me, but we were like, hang on, it was last minute, we didn't know that we were going through there. So it was like over the radio talking, saying, right, you're going to have to go through, you're being taken through, we have to go around the edge, because they at least got an engine to be able to do that. And they're going, hang on, which direction do we actually go now? Like, thinking geographically, we don't know, is it this way, like, or do we need to go that way? Which way is the tide going? How can we do this? So yeah, that's probably like, yeah, that's the most dangerous bit. But the support boat can't always stay next to me, because otherwise they just get taken in the wind. The wind takes them, it doesn't take me because I'm so low down. That they just end up going really far away and have to do circles and circles around me. But if they're doing circles, I can't see where I'm going if there's no land around me or the waves are too big. So it's really kind of complicated in that sense.
And sticking with the boat, what's the story with the captain? What happened there?
So basically, the skipper that I had was good, but pretty incompetent in terms of everything. Not very experienced, couldn't dock a boat like at all without basically hitting everything. Didn't understand, like, when you're reversing onto a dock, that like if you're in reverse you have to turn the helm the opposite way to where you're actually, if you were going forwards. And he just he was an interesting character with very little communication skills. So for him to be able to tell us what's going on was really difficult. For him, it just wasn't, the communication was so bad, and he made really strange decisions and would basically, it was a nightmare pretty much. The fact that one day we needed to go out and swim because I was like, the timings, I've got to go out and swim. And he said, no, the weather's bad. I said, no, it's not. Where is this bad weather? I can't see it on Windy. I can't see it on the Met Office. I can't see it anywhere. So no, the weather's bad. I have friends that are up here that aren't leaving because of the bad weather. We will go tomorrow or the day after, sorry. So like, right, humour me. Let's just go out and have a look. I was like, no, not doing that. Refused to. I was like, okay. So I got a professional weather router on the phone and said, can you tell me, you've got my GPS point, can you tell me that we are okay to go out and to do a tide tonight then, and then we can hide some at this point for then the actual bad weather coming in a couple of days time? And he said, yeah. And he said all of that, explained it over the phone. Skipper still didn't listen, massive arguments. And then we went out into actual bad weather, really bad fog, huge waves, didn't have the kayaker couldn't get in the water. He spent the whole time asleep, and I was just left in these huge waves, huge swell, just trying to battle my way back to the boat and still swim and make progress. And it was just a nightmare. And it got to the point on the last couple, I feel like I could rant about this for so long.
How did he get the gig? How did he get the gig?
So I actually spoke to so many different skippers, potential ones. I probably had at least 6 that were confirmed and agreed to do the full duration of the time. But for some reason, this one had to cancel because of that. That one had a job that came up here. That one's mother got ill there. And, there was always something going on. And basically, anybody that is kind of qualified that wants to do something like that, you would get along with as being a cool person. The chances are they're already doing their own thing, so it's really difficult, especially for such a long period of time and over summer, to get somebody that's kind of locked in like that. But yeah, the skipper delayed everything, and made the finish awful. So not awful, but like the last stretch really difficult. As you asked before, at Cape Wrath we had military fire coming over, which was really cool, actually, and exciting.
While you were in the water, or
yeah. So basically, we got told a few weeks before that on this date they were starting a massive NATO exercise that's organised, and it's every year for like 12 days or something. And we got told, you've got to be clear by then. You've got to be clear. And it was this. I swam on a Wednesday night, ready, and we said, right, we've got another swim on Thursday morning. That brings us slightly closer. And it would get us clear of this naval exercise as well. And then I woke up ready to do my swim, and I looked at the GPS and I went, I'm like 4 hours away from my drop point. Why? And the skipper had just decided by himself, didn't wake anybody for the watch, that I wasn't going to swim that morning. I was like, why not? Literally, why not? So it meant that we had 40 miles to traipse to the next port, which meant it would then take 8+ hours to get back to it every time. And we don't have a weather window that's that long. Not really, because 8 hours there, 6 hours swimming, and then 6 hours back. We don't have weather that's good for that amount of time. And it meant that I was then right in the middle of this military exercise. So I sacked the skipper. I was like, I am never going to make it if you're on this boat. And if we're weatherbound for another month, I don't want to spend the time on the boat with you. I'm sorry.
How did that conversation go down?
Very awkward.
It must have been. How many people were in your team? So there's a skipper, there's a kayaker,
and then a crew member. So there's pretty much 4 of us on the boat for most of the time. However, that rotated. So the first month there was a skipper that started us off for the first 2 weeks, crew member, and then this new to be skipper. Then, so for the first month I didn't even have a kayaker. I was just swimming with me in the boat. Second month, this guy became the skipper. I then had a kayaker and then the original crew member. And then third month, just a new kayaker came aboard. But between all of that time, I had a few different crew members coming back and forth. I think in total, I probably had like 13, 14 crew members on the boat.
Okay.
Especially towards the end, where like I'd get somebody on the boat that but then they were seasick for like 2 days straight and couldn't stay awake. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you can't help us. I'm sorry, you've got to go. And then you get somebody else on for this amount of time, and it turns out that actually they kind of, people like to make it sound like they're better than they are or have got more experience, particularly in the sailing world. They're like, well, I've done this, I've done that, and it's very much just a bit of a show off thing. And I'm like, but when push comes to shove, you can't hide your experience when you're on a boat, because you get told a term or asked to do something that if you've got experience, you know exactly what it is. And then for them to give you a blank face, you're like, great, that's not what we need.
So you're doing this swim, but you're also you're basically your own performance manager. You're hiring and firing as this is going on. You're getting out the water, having to make decisions, having to react to problems, problem solve, all these sorts of things.
Yeah, pretty much. That was the hardest bit. So the relief was being in the water like all the time, and then coming back out and I'm on the boat. So many logistical problems. So yeah, especially at the finish, because this guy had like delayed us pointlessly for so many times, that we needed a rib to get to the drop point. So I needed to buy a rib from somewhere, and I needed a new crew member, I needed a new skipper. So basically a rib got bought for this. So I owe that back to somebody, and stuff like that, just to make it happen. And it was literally, I got this couple that came aboard and they were so like, this is going to happen. Okay. And I was filled with so much confidence about it. But it meant that I could just relax, because I would say, Jasmine, this shouldn't be up to you. But also, it is. I was effectively the boss on the boat, but the previous skipper kind of didn't appreciate that and didn't listen to me at all about anything. So just, and half the time, he didn't want to tell me stuff because he knew that I'd have an opinion about it, because it's obviously my swim. So it breaks down when he tells a crew member, like my friend who I'm sharing a cabin with, oh yeah, don't tell Jasmine that. And he repeated that many times. My crew member, my mate, would tell me anyway, come back and said, yeah, so this. And he said, to not tell you that bit. And I'm like, you can't not tell me. It's my boat. I'm going to find out. It's my swim. Like, what makes you think that you need to not tell me something? Like, that is not how a boat or just people or life works. Like, you can't do that.
So who came on? You had, was it a couple you said came on and saved the day?
Yeah, like pretty much. So they are absolutely brilliant. They actually for like 5 years trained people to do like ultra races in the Yukon in Canada. And he works for a global adventure challenge company anyway, so escorts people doing Land's End to cycles, and he'd just come off a London to Paris cycle, and he's a skipper that's bringing the boat down, and that's why we're waiting for a few weeks, because I'm not sure which country he's in some random country doing some month-long expedition for some people, and he trains people to do this.
Who is he? Can you give me his name?
Yeah, he's called Stuart Sterling.
Stuart
He's
Sterling.
just a legend.
How did you find him in the middle of this swim when you're putting the miles in and getting battered by the waves, stung by jellyfish, chased by sharks? I want to hear that story. How the hell did you find Stuart?
Yeah, so at the beginning, I put out feelers everywhere over Facebook posts to different crew forums, and then I even emailed it was a yacht delivery crew, like a company, and it's called Halcyon, and they basically sent an email to all of their contacts that want to do deliveries, to say, look, this is what's happening. So I have like a huge list of contacts of people that wanted to come aboard. So when I say huge list, I mean a lot. And I'm working through all these people, trying to speak to them. Can you do this? Can you do that? Looking at the dates. What's your qualifications? What are you happy with? Like everything. And also trying to basically work through the bullshit, because there's a lot of it on there. And I'm like, right. And so originally, this couple were meant to be on the boat in the first month, but they had something else that cropped up to do with like work and stuff. But I'd kept in good contact because they seemed like good people that I'd want. So throughout, when I needed crew members, I'd message. It was his wife saying, "Are you available then? Are you available then?" And then it just happened to be that it was when I needed a skipper. I messaged saying, "Can you come and skip her?" She said, "I can't, but my husband can. I'll send him over. He's just coming back from France. He's been there for a month." I was like, okay. He literally landed back in the country. She met him at the airport, gave him his stuff, and he flew up, and that was it. So yeah, it just happened to be right people, right time to basically get them. And then when he came up, it was obvious that he basically said to me, no, Jasmine, you've got to get rid of the skipper. I'll do it for you because you won't make it to the end. And I already realised that, but I said, I need another skipper go. No, he said, I'll do it. If you get rid of him, I'll do it, and I will make Joe, his wife, come up and crew for us. He said, that'll happen. Don't worry, I'll make it happen. And so it did. I was like,
so he's got the skills to sail the boat.
yeah. So, and also I owe him, because he's basically saved the day. He just needs a few more miles to be able to get his yachtmaster. So he's then doing the delivery back down for me, because I effectively owe him the miles, because it's quite difficult to get miles, especially this time of year, and he needs them by January, I think. Right. So I'm like, yeah, he can then get his yachtmaster, so then he could get a job that's lined up for him in like February, March or something like that. So it's all like, it's worked together really well. But yeah, it's just also, you know, when you get somebody that isn't necessarily sailed the whole lives or done anything like that, but they just learn, they get it. Like his whole career was actually in the police force, not anything to do with like boats or adventures, but since he's retired, he's just picked up all of this and so many skills, and somebody that just kind of gets it, like is so switched on, that can learn, get shown something once and they just know it. And it's like, yeah, is the kind of person that you need.
How
and
old
also
is he?
somebody that won't admit that they know everything.
How old is he?
58.
58. And he's getting after it all the time, flying around the world, just saving adventurers.
Yeah.
Just sailing boats, just rocks up and gets you. What was it like for your mindset when you realised you had a proper skipper on board, a crew member, and like people that they know what you're going through, they've been with athletes going through what you're doing?
Well, actually, to start with, his wife had actually rowed the Atlantic like 15 years ago.
Of course you had.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was amazing, brilliant feeling. But also, when they came aboard, I knew that I was going to make it to the end. So actually, my mindset changed, and it actually changed the finish for me, because I'd already kind of accepted at that point that I was going to make the finish, and it kind of felt like I already had, because I had this huge relief of just kind of like almost happiness of like, yes, this is going to happen. It made it, that almost felt like the finish. So when I did get to the finish, I was there like, I kind of knew that this was going to happen already. And so I didn't have that like, oh my gosh, like it's actually here, because I kind of had that confidence. So it was a bit strange. But yeah, it completely changed everything. It just made me happy. I wanted to be on the boat. I wanted to be there. And I didn't mind either. Everything else, I just learned, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. It's fine. We're here.
And who was it that, tell me this shark story. Who spotted the shark, realised there was one following you? What was that?
I'm trying to think. So it was James, my crew member, that was there for like 2.5 months. I think he and the skipper basically were like, oh, there's like a fin, oh, it must be a whale or a dolphin. And we're like, no, there's the tail fin is upright as well and isn't flat, which means that's a shark. And so basically, and I'd already set ground rules of, if you ever see a shark or anything like that, you come to me at 2,800 revs as fast as you can. Straight to me, please. If you ever see an orca, you do the same thing. And if you ever see just a whale when I'm not with a kayaker, please do that, because basically whales are big and scary. And I just want, I don't even necessarily need to get out of the water. I just want the reassurance that somebody's there. You kind of want that. Yeah, just reassurance. And so they spotted the shark, came straight over, but they didn't tell me what it was. And because of the relationship already described with the skipper, when he says to me, Jasmine, get out of the water, I'm like, no, why? Why do I need to get out of the water? Like, for me, there is no reason I need to be in here swimming. You already try and stop me swimming as many times as you possibly can, because you don't want to, because you want to have a holiday and stop in every place rather than actually get the job done. And I was like, why am I getting out? Tell me why. It was like, just get out. Like, I'm not getting out because the tide, and I said, is the tide still with me? He said, yes. I said, the weather's perfect. Why would I get out? Like, genuinely, I was just like, no, I'm not going to get out because I've got a job to do. And then like, eventually James just shouted down and said, Jasmine, there's a shark. I was there like, right, okay, well, why didn't you say that? Why didn't you say that? And it was like, or like, I think no, I got it wrong. James said, it was when James said to me, Jasmine, get out that I was like, oh, right, okay, I'll listen to him because I know that he's on my side a lot
Okay.
more.
Yeah.
So he did. As soon as I got out onto the swim ladder, he then said, Jasmine, there's a shark. I was like, oh my God, you should have told me earlier. Like, what? And then I was just like, this is incredible. Like, where's my GoPro? Like, I want to capture this on camera. Like, this is brilliant. And it was really exciting. And basically, like, the excitement took over of like, was watching the shark for like the next bit. And I only had maybe an hour left of my swim out away. And then I'd said, I don't want to swim here at night. Bearing in mind, like, this was the day shift. I would then have to get in at like 2 o'clock in the morning or something. I was like, I don't want to get in at this exact point where I got out at night. Let's wait till the next day. And so we did. And then, yeah, it was fine. I never actually saw it again.
What's your, when you say that about your sleep pattern, what, you don't want to get in here at that time, so you would sleep on a bit, but did you just always have to get up when the tide was right?
Yeah, so that occasion was literally the only occasion because I didn't want to get in the water in the dark with a shark, basically.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah.
That was my only time that I ever was like, oh, actually, I'll skip a swim. Other than that, I'm like constantly swimming no matter what time. And I think like now, like getting up whatever time in the morning, like you normally think, oh, I've got to get up at like 2, 3, 4, even like 6 o'clock in the morning. It's fairly early. And I'm like, no, Jasmine, you were having to get up at like I have an alarm on my phone for literally every half an hour of the full 24-hour period because I've had to be up for some reason at every single time. I've had to sleep at every different hour. And yeah, it's you just do it. And it was so much easier when you've got a real thing driving you. And the fact that it's not just me having to get up, my crew are already up. Like there's a kayaker that's going to get in the water with me at that time as well. So it's not just me.
Are you sleeping in your wetsuit, or are you getting out your wetsuit every time back in cold wetsuit? And how's?
Yeah, so I had 4 different wetsuits. So I couldn't put on a wet wetsuit, ironically, because basically I couldn't get it to fit properly. So I would end up having really bad chafe. So I would make sure that I always had, and this was probably quite a lot of the stress was me planning, like, and my wetsuits were all different as well. So I was like, right, this one chafes me there. That one is warmest then. I need the warmer wetsuit for the night swims. And then it's like figuring it all out. Hang on, if I'm only doing a 1-hour swim, I'll wear this wetsuit because it doesn't matter as much because it's thinner. It's like whatever. But if I'm doing a full 6-hour swim, I want this wetsuit. And it gets all complicated. But no, I didn't sleep in my wetsuit apart from if I'd get ready to do a swim. And it turns out that we were actually further off our GPS point than we thought we were going to be because it's quite difficult to predict when you're actually going to get somewhere. So I'd end up with like an extra, I don't know, sometimes an hour when I'm already ready to go. So yeah, I'd just sleep in my wetsuit or just nap really. Sometimes I thought about it, do I just do it? But you won't get an actual proper sleep, and the chances are that I need to like go to the loo or something before I get in anyway. So I'm gonna have to take it pretty much all the way down.
And what is it? What's it called? Salt mouth. When your tongue starts wasting away and everything like that. What was that like?
So that I don't really know where that came from because it happened once.
All right, but what happened?
Like,
What I've heard about it before. What happened?
So it was just when I was in the water doing the Bristol Channel, my 12-hour swim. My tongue basically just wrinkled up. You know how like your hands in the bath go all like white and like wrinkly? It just happened to my tongue. Like, and that was it. And it just happened once. It kind of did it a tiny bit, like the further on that I got, as in like into 6 hours, 6-hour swim. And then be like, on the 6th hour, if you get out, you could look at it, but it'd be okay shortly afterwards. Mainly because I knew it was a problem after watching Ross's. So Sean didn't suffer with it, I don't think. But watching Ross's swim, he did. So right from the beginning, I practiced basically breathing out of my mouth the whole time. So I never actually really got salt water on, like all the time around my tongue. So I tried to avoid it as much as possible. The biggest problems with the chafing, like unbelievable, like just literal cuts into my skin, like a good half a centimetre deep.
Jeez.
Maybe more. I don't know. I can't see it. It's on my back.
What was more of a relief for you? Was it getting onto dry land after the swim or across the Atlantic?
don't know. They're both so similar. As I said, it felt like the swim was completed earlier because I could effectively see the finish line, whereas on the Atlantic, I definitely couldn't see the finish line. And on the Atlantic, I don't think I kind of wanted to finish because I was there like, it's COVID, there's going to be nobody there. What's the point? Like, I'm enjoying it. It was all very much like that. But the celebration for the finish was huge. Like, you get to hold the flares, there's horns blasted, there is loads of people. It was actually amazing. Whereas the swim finish, basically the rib broke down and my crew, the couple were stuck out on the rib getting rescued by a fishing boat. My kayakers rather than what I needed to get themselves sorted out, and immediately it's just like camera on me, and I was there like I was completely speechless. I was there like, I don't know what you want me to say because I don't feel like, although I felt like I'd finished the week before, I actually didn't feel like I was finished until I had my friends around me, because like I walk up and I'd see like my crew member Will, who had actually been back and forth like 4 times throughout the trip, just coming back to help out for a week. We had to go for something, I'll come back again, and he was there and I was looking at him because it's the only crew member on the side, and he's just there on his radio like full on like stressing out, like didn't even like kind of look at me, and I'm there like, I'm finished, right, what's going on? And the thing is, I'm like, look up to these people, these are like my friends, these are like my family now, and I'm thinking I should be involved in what's going on now. I should be on the radio trying to sort this out as well. I should be on that rib like with them. If they're going to hit a rock and they're going to sink, I need to be there as well. So it was a really strange finish, and it was only when all the like the cameras were turned off and I was up at the signpost and we had a bottle of champagne and I just got to hug around everybody, my friends and the crew. It was just, that's when it was a proper finish and it felt a massive relief. But the actual finish line was very different compared to both.
And how have you taken to podcasts and media and talking about your stories now? Have you taken to that quite with ease to sort of become you're a motivational speaker? You've done incredible things.
I'd like to do some motivational speaking. That would be great. Like a bit more. But yeah, I expected the media to be quite a lot more after the swim. Just going off what it was from the row. The row was just phenomenal. It was all over like worldwide news. It was literally everywhere.
Because you're the youngest. Am I right in saying you're the youngest female to row the Atlantic?
Yeah. And that was just like, it just blew up. It was everywhere, like so many different people contacted me, so many companies for this, like the amount of podcasts and like news things that I was doing, or people still writing articles like months and months later. It just never died down. Whereas a swim, I actually feel like nobody knows it happened. Like I was doing this thing today and this lady was like, oh my gosh, the famous Jasmine. I was like, well, not really. And then she started asking me about stuff like, oh, well, how was it? And I started saying, oh, well, yeah, it was pretty tough. I only got back last week. She went, I thought you did it like 2 years ago or like last year. And I went, you talking about the row? She was like, yeah. Why? Have you done something else? I was there like, yeah, actually.
Yeah, there's going to be some people that you've got to realize. I know you know this. There's some pretty crazy stuff going on in the news. But I mean, the people that are watching, there will be so many folk that know. I spoke tonight at an event, a training session I was at, and you are known to a group of dads in this little village of Longlidrey. When I said I had Jasmine on, who just swam from the whole length of the UK. They went, oh, I saw that in the BBC.
Really?
Oh yeah. So don't put what you have done down, but you are going to come across people that have no idea who you are. There's people who don't know who Ronaldo is. There's people who don't know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is.
It wasn't that. It was more that if you've already heard of me, then surely you'd know that I just done this, especially because it was only like my local town as well. But yeah, I did expect a lot more media after it. I'm not complaining because I didn't have the energy to deal with that. Like I really didn't at all. Like as soon as I finished and I said to my mum that was kind of on my emails and organising stuff, I said to her, I'm not doing a single interview unless they're at John O'Groats. Unless you come to John O'Groats and you make the effort, I've just swam that whole way. If you're not there, I'm not talking to you until afterwards. And that was it. Rules set. I was like, no, not doing it at all, because I just need to actually breathe, just go, okay. But yeah, the media has been a lot less, but I'm excited to talk about the swimming stuff. Like, especially I did my first podcast yesterday, and the first half of it wanted to talk about the row, and I was like itching to talk about the swim. I'm like, the row was gone. Like, this is like, I like to compare things, but I'm very much like, I want to talk about the swim. That's the thing that's like now and fresh.
Yeah,
You know?
but that's like I said when I reached out to you, I was like, can you do this Thursday night, because it's so current.
Yeah.
You've just achieved it. You nailed it, and it's awesome. And like, I'm not interested. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm not interested in what you do next, because this is now.
Yeah.
You've just done something that needs talked about. There are people who maybe aren't thinking they could do that, but you could help so many people with what you've just and see, even I can't believe that you were running the whole gig while you're in the water, firing skippers and all that sort of stuff. You know,
Yeah.
imagine.
But who else is going to do the dirty work like that for you?
No, I know, but when there are athletes out there who, Mark Beaumont, for instance,
Yeah.
cycles around the world. He'll have a performance manager with him. He'll have someone that is looking after everything that could possibly go wrong, because they just want him on the bike. If he's going to break that record, you're on the bike. You will not know if the skipper's an asshole. You will not know if we've got no food, because we will find food.
Yeah. That's the way it was meant to be.
I know, but
I was
the
really hoping it was
lessons,
meant to be like that, and
the
it wasn't.
lessons and the things you are picking up in your young career as a adventurer, record breaker, everything you're achieving now will just be so useful to you as you go on.
Yeah. I feel that, like, I feel like I've learned so much, like saying I just need to recovery, like emotionally, like mentally, physically, every way. I just need to go like, right, okay, I'll breathe, just have some time, like just sit there, go to sleep, do whatever. Yeah, it is really strange, and I didn't feel like that after the row. Straight away, oh, let's have a party, let's go to Antigua, let's like, yeah, let's enjoy every single moment. Like, I don't need to sleep, whatever. And now I'm just like, leave me alone. I want some space. I just need to figure everything out by myself. Like, I'm even to the point, like, I literally just started writing yesterday. I was like, not even writing like a diary or a book or anything like that. I literally just, I'd get like a thought in my head. I'm like, just write it down, and then it's out there and you can get rid of it. You know, it's like, there's so much going on. It's like been quite like intense recently that I'm just like, no, get it out.
Good on you. Good on you. Well, there's so many outlets now, even if you don't post that or share it, just to put that down, you can look back at it in years to come and think, God, remember your mindset at that point in time. But how's best? Obviously, Instagram's how I reached out to you, but you've got your website, is that right?
I don't think it's very good, because again, I'm having to make that myself. I need to actually do and update that. But yeah, I have a website. I have the Facebook. I'm on Twitter, but I refuse to actually download it myself, so I have somebody else doing that. And yeah, that's it. I do the Instagram. I had somebody else on the Facebook for a while, because I was like, because I have different followers on both. Like, they're kind of, it's a different sort of, what you call it, band of people. So the posts need to be different, and nothing annoys me more than like when I follow somebody on both of them and they post the same thing, and I'm just like, I've already seen it, I've already liked it, I don't want to see it on here too. I'm on that app for a different reason. So I kind of, on the Instagram, somebody else is my Facebook, and somebody else, I don't even know whether Twitter is a thing, I don't know. But yeah, I need to do it on my website. I need to be more on it with stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's not why I'm doing it. I like the adventure side. It's all of that extra bits afterwards. I'm like,
yeah, but you've got a pretty, like I said at the start, you're pretty headstrong. You've got a pretty solid head on your shoulders that can make these decisions. And what you, as I've repeated myself several times, what you've achieved is incredible. So keep going. What I'll be watching. You say people don't know who you are. I'll be watching, and there will be lots of people very interested to find out what you do next, and hoping that you do take on something next. I can see you scaling some mountains or something a bit different. Can I ask you, would you take on Sean's record? Would you cycle and run the length of the UK?
I'd cycle it. I definitely won't run it.
Okay.
Because, well, I say definitely, I am not the biggest fan of running. For me, it's something that I've done in the past for like sport and competing, but I have to train for running. It doesn't come that easily, so I end up having to train so much and so hard, which happily I'll work towards it. But I know that even if I missed a week of doing whatever, I'll never pick it back up again the same. And then I have to restart that whole hard work. Wherever swimming, I'll never lose it. So for me, the amount that I'd put into running to not necessarily get anything back, probably other than injury, because I won't, I'm like, I'd rather not, I'd rather be on a bike, I'd rather swim, I'd rather sail, I'd rather rollerblade, like seriously.
Well, whatever you do, I'm sure you'll achieve it. This has been awesome. As I said, thank you so much for joining me so quickly after me getting in touch.
No, thank you.
Enjoy the party this weekend. It is
Yes.
well deserved. What's the band? Who's your favourite band?
They're just called the Bootleggers, and they're actually just a couple of my friends called
Okay.
Dave and Nathan, and they're just they play all sorts of music, and I'm sure that they'll sing "Row, row, row your boat" just to take the piss out of me. But yeah, it should be good. And then I've got a wedding on Saturday. Considering I've not really drank for like probably since April, it's gonna be interesting. I had my one night on the finish day, and I can't remember it. And so it's gonna be interesting this weekend. Yeah, I'm sure.
We'll enjoy it, Jasmine. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
No, thank you. It's been great. Nice to talk.